You play Colin Sullivan. He is the mole inside the police department, which, well, I'll let you do the explaining. How would you introduce Colin to people?
Well, the movie's about two characters, one who infiltrates the state police and is reporting back to the Irish mafia. Excuse me. The other is infiltrates the mafia and is reporting back to the state police. So, and Jack Nicholson plays the head of the Irish mafia. So, Leonardo DiCaprio plays the character who's infiltrated the mafia, and he's reporting back to the state police. And I play the character who has infiltrated the state police and is reporting back to Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, Martin said that your character is probably the most tragic in the movie. Maybe it's because you have the most to lose. Maybe.
Well, I mean, he's really trapped by a choice he made as like a very young man to kind of, you know, which was barely a choice for him. I mean, this very powerful father figure kind of comes into his life and, you know, it nurtures him and, you know, and grooms him basically to become this mole. And at an age when he's not necessarily able to walk away from that, you know, I mean, he would be drawn to a figure like that. So, and
he's that kind of personality.
Yeah, he's magnetic. He's absolutely magnetic, and as a result, you know, the rest of his life is kind of determined at that moment, because then he joins the, you know, there's a moment where he says, "Do you think, you know, we could leave and we could go to another city?" You know, I was thinking maybe another city and, you know, a clean slate. Right. You know, because he realizes that he does have value as more than just this person's mole. He could actually finish law school, and his life could look a little different.
Well, you know, that is interesting. He does have values, but I guess you could say, some people would say he doesn't. I mean, his values are maybe misdirected. Like, let's say, does he really know what right and wrong is inside the police department?
No, I'd say that well, right and wrong is a subjective, you know, matter. I mean, it's, you know, as I played the role, I mean, everything I did made total sense to him, right? It's just now you look at it with the perspective, you know, Marty has contextualized all this behavior, and now I can look at it objectively and say, okay, well, I'm the antagonist in the movie. I mean, I'm a writer. I know the deal. But when you're playing the role, you know, everything, and Marty's very, you know, he'll be the first to tell you that all of that needs to be, every behavior you have needs to be motivated. It needs to make sense to you why you're doing what you're doing, and everything Colin does in the movie makes sense to him. You know, he definitely feels, you know, that he's trapped by his circumstances. He's a victim.
And Mark Wahlberg's character, the way you play off him, he's such a, you know, he's really pugnacious. He's like in your face.
Yeah.
It gives you a lot to play off of. My question is, you know, what did Mark bring to your performance?
Mark's great, and Mark is from there, and there's
I was going to say,
there's
you guys
an
are both
authenticity
from
that is just very familiar to me and believable to me, and it makes it very easy to do a scene with someone like that, because you don't question for a second that, you know, that Mark Wahlberg, for instance, in the scene when he, you know, where, you know, he comes after me, I don't think for a second that in real life the you know, an exchange of blows between me and him would end in any different way than it does in the movie. You know, he's a tough guy. He really is a tough guy, and and his performance is terrific in this movie, because there's that authenticity that you just look at him and you know he's not faking it.
Did you ever imagine that you'd be, you know, being from Boston, that you'd be starring in a movie in your own town? Did you ever think that would happen?
Well, no. And then we did Good Will Hunting, and then 10 years later, or 9 years later, I'm in a movie that Martin Scorsese is directing in Boston, and that feels pretty unbelievable. I never really thought it would be this good.